Hello, I hope you enjoyed my first video. For my second video, I'm going to be borrowing on the concepts that I described in my first video of average product, total product, and marginal product, and I'm going to describe cost concepts of average cost, total cost, and marginal cost. So here we go, bear with me. Okay, so now I'll be describing total cost, average cost, and marginal cost. Now the total cost of a firm comprises of your total variable cost plus your total fixed cost. Now the fixed cost is constant, it doesn't change, it remains constant no matter how many units of output you produce. But variable cost depend on how many outputs you produce. So in this graph, where output is on your x-axis and cost is on your y-axis, you see that total fixed cost is constant. It doesn't depend on how many units of output you produce. But total variable cost increases. Total variable cost increases due to the amount of units of output you produce. Now total cost, as we can see, is total variable cost plus total fixed cost. It starts over here. So if you produce no units of output, 0, 0, you will still have to pay your fixed cost. No matter what happens, you always have to pay your fixed cost. So we start over here, and it works with your total variable cost. Total cost. And the difference between your total variable cost and your total cost is your total fixed cost. So now that's our total graph, our total costs graph. Now for average cost equals our total cost divided by the units of output we produce. So that is this. But if we wanted to work out your average variable cost, it would be your total variable cost divided by units. And similarly, if we wanted to work out our average fixed cost, it would be our total fixed cost divided by our units. Now for marginal cost, it's the change in total cost divided by the change in units. Now, what we have to know for this section is one very important graph. It goes like this. So over here we have output, and over here we have cost on the y-axis. Now, average variable cost starts off very high, but then it decreases. Now this can be understood why average variable cost is average fixed cost is total fixed cost, which, look in this graph, it's always constant, it never changes, divided by output. Now on our x-axis, output is increasing. So this number is staying the same whilst this number is increasing, causing the whole entire equation to decrease. That is why average fixed cost decreases. Then we have average variable cost, which is shown like this, average variable cost, and we have average total cost, which can be shown like this, total cost. Now if we look here, well, I haven't written it now, this is an important thing we need to know. Average total cost equals average variable cost plus average fixed cost, which is the same relationship over here. All of these concepts are just averaged out. So average total cost, this amount is this curve, average variable cost, plus your average fixed cost. Now because our average fixed cost, as I explained earlier, is decreasing, average fixed cost, sorry, I needed to label that, average fixed cost is decreasing, the difference between our average total cost and average variable cost is decreasing as well. So over here we had this much difference, but as average fixed cost gets smaller and smaller and smaller as the output units increase, the difference between average total cost and average variable cost also gets smaller and smaller. That's an important thing to note. And lastly, marginal cost, as was described in the last video, marginal cost intersects average total cost and average variable cost at their minimum points. So over here and over here is the minimum of average total cost and average variable cost. Okay, thank you. Lastly, I'm going to tie up the product curves and the cost curves that we've learned into two graphs that are important to remember. On our x-axis, we have labor and output. And on our y-axis, we have average product, marginal product, and cost. So these are two graphs that we must know. And so this is marginal product, and this is average product. So on our right hand side, remember, as we explained before, marginal is above average, therefore average is increasing. And on this side of the graph, marginal is below average, therefore average is decreasing. So this is the maximum of our average product graph. Now, this is the maximum of our marginal product graph. So we're going to draw lines down, and we're going to draw lines down here too. So we have our marginal cost curve, and there, over here, we have our average variable cost curve. So what's important to know is the maximum of our marginal product curve is equally the minimum of our average variable curve. And the maximum of our average product curve is also the minimum of our average variable cost curve. Those are important relationships that we must remember. So that's all from me, Leigh from Cape Town, South Africa. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. And thank you for all the great work that you guys are doing at Khan Academy. I've definitely watched your videos numerous times before many of my varsity exams. Hope you have a great day.